Hello, everybody.
Hey,
hello,
guys.
Hi, kids. How
Hi,
is it?
cheries.
How are you all? How is
Honestly.
it? How's life? How's it treating
How's
you?
everyone doing?
Tell us. We don't be asking them how they are.
No, for real.
Sorry.
Let us know in the comments down below.
We just be talking.
And thank you to the people that do be commenting.
We appreciate you.
No, for real.
Yeah,
Love it.
Welcome back to Sitting Down with the Sisters with English.
So right,
Welcome
take your
back.
time. Take your time, baby.
Thank you, darling. Welcome back to the Sitting Down with the Sisters podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Ayo.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Temmie.
It's nice to see you.
Hello, and we are the sisters.
We are the sisters. Hello. Hi.
Yes,
You're
sir.
You're sitting down with us.
Yes,
Did you
sir.
get?
We losing.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're not
Let's
losing
not do
control
that.
in Jesus'
Goodness.
name. Hallelujah. So guys, I actually have a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
If someone said to you, you had to recite the 10 commandments, do you think you could do all of them?
No.
No, bye.
I'm gonna go straight to the point. No.
No, but you know a few, yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
could get more than.
Sunday
said
school.
no. The way you said
you
no.
said all 10. I said no.
Okay. Oh, no problem.
Come
Okay.
on. Sunday
no
school was
problem.
Okay, what ones
useful.
do you guys know? Tell me.
Do not commit murder. No,
Yeah.
bye.
Tem said,
Tell
Okay.
me.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
yes.
Let's all do one. Like go.
That's
round.
my one.
I've got them here, so it's cheating.
Oh.
But I just wanted to know.
I know your father.
Yeah, I know your
Do not
father and your
lie.
mother. Do not
No lies.
That's not a 10 commandments.
Oh.
That's what it is.
Do not lie.
Actually, thou shalt not lie. That's what she said. It's not.
Oh, right then. Sorry, guys. Ignore me.
Wow. That's a
Okay,
silent
let me-
moment there.
Right.
Because I really thought it was too.
Yeah,
I don't think
same.
it is. Imagine I'm lying. Okay, so it goes. You must not have.
Wait, so
any,
do you know it though
Oh,
without
okay.
I know a
looking?
few. I
Okay.
don't think I have 10. I can't
How
do
do
it.
you-
I
how
don't
do
think I
you
could do all
I
10.
can't
Like,
do 10.
if I had to
Covet.
sit down, yeah, covet, yeah, that is one. But
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I said
envy.
lie. Right. Sorry.
but yeah, you must not have any other god before me. That's number one.
Number one.
You must not
Hallelujah.
make yourself an idol. You must not bow down to them. Yep. You must not misuse the name of the Lord your God. You must remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Honor your father, your mother. You must not murder. You must not commit adultery. You must not steal. You must not testify falsely against your neighbor, and you shall not covet. your
What's
food.
covet?
You
I
must
feel like
not-
that's lying.
You must
so
not
you must not.
envy.
No, you must not testify falsely against your
Oh
neighbor.
yeah. But that's just
That-
that's
no.
fair. Okay,
They
but-
just
but
they
we know
put
that's
it. They put it in Shakespearean language.
Is it?
Don't actually finish me, this
She
girl.
said
Do not lie.
Shakespearean.
In other words, don't lie on their name.
Yeah, you
Right.
shouldn't lie on anyone's name.
Yeah.
That's so crazy because people are really doing that.
Yeah.
You know when you were reading
False
it, I thought,
testimony.
what's happening? Because a lot of people
All
doing
of
it.
they are getting violated on the day.
Me included.
Yeah,
I'm not
real,
gonna lie, because I'm like,
human.
oh, I'll be doing some of that.
What, Shade
God,
Borough,
please
come on,
forgive
answer for
us.
yourself.
Our sins.
No, because when you're bearing false witness, that's a 10 commandments. You know, the 10 commandments are like they were written on tablets of stone. You know, there's a commandment. Then there's just like, oh, maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah,
know.
you shouldn't do this.
Commandment.
That's what had to be followed.
Guys, do
Right.
you want to go on a crusade one day?
A crusade. How do you mean?
Or go like visit Jerusalem?
There
I would
are
love to. That's on my
defo.
list.
Is that what
Defo.
crusade is? Did I say it right? Crusade?
Crusade is what they used to do when they used to go and like share the gospel back in the day.
Oh, okay, no, I mean like go at
on,
Go and-
on
yeah,
like a
yeah.
spiritual
On the
journey,
spiritual,
to Israel.
yeah.
1,000,000%.
to
I
do
must
that.
see where my savior was laid.
I must walk the same walk.
Hallelujah. Anyways, today we're talking about honoring your father and mother because do you know why? I think we've lost sight of this commandment. And guys, this commandment specifically is one of the commandments that is given with like a heavy promise. The Bible actually says you should honor your father and mother. Then you will live a long, full life in the land the Lord your God is giving you. Now, I feel like I've always found this commandment, very interesting, especially growing up just as a child. I feel like you go through your rebellious phase, you go through the phase where you're like, you guys don't know what you're talking about, which is not good to say that.
Yeah.
But you just go through those phases where you're just like, So what do you guys think it looks like to honor your father and your mother, like, generally? Because sometimes I don't know how to answer that question.
That's a good question, you know. Because I think it starts with, especially in an African household, communication, having a respectful communication.
Right.
That even when they're provoking you, even when they're saying something that you don't necessarily agree with, there needs to be a level of respect there. The same way, like if your employer was saying something to you and you know you're talking worse, you wouldn't speak to them in a certain manner because you know you need that job. in the same way, I feel like that should be applied with our parents. And I think it should be an even greater calling and responsibility that these are our angels here on earth, and they were chosen by God to be our parents and our guardians. There's a reason why they use that word here in this country, guardians, because they are guarding us.
Wow.
They're guiding
they're supposed to
us.
anyway.
So I think one of the ways it can look like is the communication and how you speak to your parents.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Good one.
I would just say, I think it's a lot of things. I don't
Yeah.
think it's one thing. I think just in a nutshell, doing well by your parents, like whatever decision that you make, bearing them in mind, and just wanting to make sure that just being very considerate of them through the way you speak to them, through your actions and behaviors. You know, them getting older, just being more lenient with them, maybe not like, you know, sometimes we can be a bit harsh on our parents, and something changed it for me a few years ago when I saw that just take it easy on your parents, because it's their first time living as well. The same way that you're seen today for the first time, it's the same way they're seen today for the first time.
Right.
And sometimes we can forget that because it's like they were here before us, so it's like, oh, you're my mum, you're my dad, that's all I see you as, but they're people as well. So just be easy on them, just honor them, literally. Like sometimes you know we're the children, so we're the ones that should be taken care of, right? But we get to a stage where we take care of them. You know, and I honestly, like, I'm in that phase now of my life where I just see my parents so differently. Like the other day there was a good reminder. So my grandma passed away and I just saw my dad as a son. I didn't see my dad as a dad. I saw him as a son.
Wow.
He was someone's child, and his mum passed away. And he I wouldn't say he broke down, but he had a little moment, and I was just like, oh my gosh, you're my dad, you're my daddy, but you're
before he was a dad, you're
somebody's son.
You know, and it's just things like that, just constantly reminding yourself of that, and just making sure to humanize them, and making sure your actions follow, not just the way you think of them in your head, but your actions are consistently showing that for them, aligned.
Defo. Another one would be like how you talk about them. Because that's one way.
Oh my gosh,
that sometimes I know that the Lord is looking at me, so Ayo, is that honorable? Is it good? Because
no, heavy on that one though.
Because for me, like, I think there's space to be, you know, vent your frustrations. I think that's fine, but
that's normal.
How much do you talk well? How much do you speak well of them? Like, what is your disposition to always speak ill? Is your disposition to only highlight the things that you think they're not doing well? And I don't think that's honorable. Anybody that you honor would be someone you have huge respect for. Highly of, have huge respect for. And I think that's something that's lost on our generation, and it's getting more and more lost as the years go by. And the reason why I wanted to discuss this was because I think I was listening to either a podcast or a debate or just something, and they were talking about how the reason why the world is in the state that it is because people no longer honor their mothers and fathers. And they were speaking about it from the lens of parenting, and the way that now, especially with certain things that are coming out or certain agendas that are being pushed in the world, you see a blatant disrespect for a parent's role in a child's life. Where a parent, I believe, and I stand on this heavy, a parent should be able to tell you what to do until you're an adult. Like, I agree. Like, they should be able to. Obviously, there's a disclaimer for parents that are abusive. Like, we're not talking about that, and parents that do not have, like, they're not fulfilling their job properly. If they're still like, the Bible doesn't say you should honor them only when they're treating you well, though. So there's space for honoring parents that are not behaving properly, but there's also safeguarding and stuff that should be thought about. But where we're living in a world where you can go out and say, oh, I just don't think what my parents said is right, so I'm going to do whatever I want. And you have institutions, you have healthcare situations that are happy for you to do things as an individual without your parents' guidance, or without their permission, without their say. And I think that there's something to be said about that. There's also something to be said about you disregarding your parents' opinion, and like, to the point of, like, okay, I don't know, this could be controversial. Wait, so you're telling me you've been watching this entire time and you haven't subscribed? You got 5 seconds. Okay. But the LGBTQ plus community, I think there is a lot of conversation around them and transitioning kids, because nowadays the narrative is more, if a child feels that they are of a different gender or like a gender expression, they should be freely allowed to express that and make that decision as a child
without the parents.
And when we say as a child, we're talking as young as 12. Primary school.
12. We're talking younger.
They teach them that in primary school.
Exactly.
Like I saw an article where a woman had to pull her child out of school because of what they were teaching them in class about how you can be whatever you want to be, if you want to be a boy and a girl. And I think there's danger in that.
There's danger. There is danger in a lot of the rhetoric that comes out, because what then happens is a parent's care and their role in that child's life then gets relegated to not meaningful, and that child now becomes almost the parent, or becomes the like guardian over themselves at an age where they don't have the mental, they don't have the capacity to make those decisions. Yes, you know what you like. You might like your favorite, you might know your favorite food, you might know your favorite color, but to know what gender you want to be for the rest of your life, a huge
decision that's going to really affect you and as an adult, they're not capable of doing that yet. That's why there's age restrictions on a lot of things. That's why there's parental guidance on a lot of things. And when you look at just upbringing, let's take it back to Christianity, you know, raise your children in the way of so they shall not depart from it. I think that's very, like, every Christian household should honor that completely, and I'm an example of that. I think I'm an example of that, because my parents did the best that they could to raise me and my sibling in the way of the Lord, and then when we get to a certain age, it's like, I've done my part. You know, like, I've done my part, I've raised you. Not in fact, I'm talking about it from obviously a Christian perspective, but even with other things, with everything in life, you know, like a way of dressing, the way you communicate. There's a way my parents raised me and my brother in terms of just the way we communicate with each other. There's the way we talk to each other. We can't shout, we can't sweat. Like, there's a way, even though that can have reverse effect. But let's talk about the main part of just the good parts and the fruitful parts and that you get to see when you're an adult. You know, like, we were raised in that way, and honestly, I'm so glad that my parents were able to do that, even though at the time it might seem like a battle. At the time it might seem like they hated me, but I will always be so grateful, and the examples that they laid in terms of mum and dad going to church together, seeing these things has honestly helped me shape the way I want my, like, it's a ripple effect. Like, you carry it on the older you get, but when you're younger you don't see it that way. You might just see it as it's just a way of living. No, they do those things on purpose, because as kids we're like sponges. We absorb these things, and a child's upbringing and childhood shapes a lot of the way that they will be in their adult life and the decisions that they make. So if you do that, and let's say the age of consent is 18, as it is in the UK, you get to that age and, you know, you might not see it that way and think, oh, I'll give credit to my parents, but a lot of the decisions you're making right now is based off what you saw growing up. Of course you can see things in adulthood that can change you and skew your opinions and things, but do you get what I'm saying? For the most part, 100%. It's like there has to be that order growing up for you to be able to function properly as an adult.
And I'm so happy you said that word, order, because God is a God of order. And you know, I find it so funny when people say, you know, oh, they don't want to follow religion or Christianity because there's rules and regulations. There's rules and regulations.
There should be rules and regulations.
Regardless, whether it be religion, it's in our system, it's in our educational system, it's in our healthcare system, it's in our day-to-day life. There are rules and regulations. There is order. The same way there's order within marriage, there's order within family. God has instated order in every area of our lives. And what I've noticed in today's day and age is this world will do whatever they can to move away from that order,
they want
or
disorder.
To dismantle that order, because without that order, there's chaos. We're prone to subject ourselves to chaos,
and we see it,
and we're seeing that chaos.
1 million.
There is an agenda now for children specifically And that's why at the moment, my church, every Sunday before children go to Sunday school, we pray over kids. Because if you're really paying attention, there is an agenda to remove the safeguarding over children and for the internet to raise children,
kids,
or for schools to raise children, which they do to some degree.
Tiny.
But it's now being distorted by the types of learning that introducing into schools, and even just amending, like whether it be the age of consent or the age of when children should be allowed to transition, or just in general, just giving children the authority that God has never given them to begin with. Because even if you look at the verse, train a child in the way they should go, and they shall not depart from it.
When they are old.
Not. Do you know what the word train means? It means to mold. It means to
have a
almost
routine,
to have a routine, so that they're practicing these rules and morals that you instill in them. So to remove that authority from a parent and whatever it is you're introducing into their lives, it's dangerous.
Very.
And that's why now you have so many children that they may be confused, they're struggling with their mental health. I'm sorry, at 12 years old, what did we know about mental health? What did we know about depression? What did we know? Have you seen the rates for suicide at a young?
Insane.
There's an article that I read of a young boy, I think he was either 11 or 12, where he was having a conversation with AI.
We had that. I spoke about that yesterday, and he committed suicide.
And he committed suicide because the robot was telling him, "Oh, come and be with me. I'm not in this earth. I'm not in this. Come and be with me." And he's committed suicide.
Oh my goodness.
That's the path that we're going down when you're removing things in place to safeguard. And what you said earlier about when you're a child, you're thinking, oh, my parent, they just want to stop me from having fun. They're constricting me. I can't be who I want to be. I want to dress how I want to dress, or whatever it is. But looking back, now that I'm 27 years old, I look back and I'm like, Mom, Dad, thank you so much. Thank you. Because the way this, and I even have not a fear, but I'm like, the way this world is going, what state am I going to raise my children in? Because at this point, I don't know what country I should go to.
Because it's not here, it's not America.
Because I'm like, the stuff I'm
really
seeing,
sad.
And the laws I'm seeing that they want to pass, but children, they should have that autonomy, they should have the authority, they should have the freedom to do that's the issue, it's the freedom.
What freedom? What do you want them to do?
What do you want them to do?
What have they developed? What cells do they have that? I'm so confused. What do you know about the world?
What do you want to do at 12 years old?
What can you navigate?
We are just negating science altogether and saying, you know what? Because this is what we feel. People that we all
everything
know,
is what we feel. We
all know that they've told us at 25 is when your frontal lobe fully finishes developing. Yet you're telling somebody that's 12 that, okay, listen, when it comes to this honoring, the honoring of your mother and father, what that also looks like is respecting their opinion even when you don't understand it. Now, it's crazy, what both of my babes have said, they're trying to make it a world where you can in yourself really rightfully believe that your parent is just chatting rubbish, and then you have people that will co-sign you and say no, they're holding you back, they're restricting you from being, and then now it's almost like the authorities will side with that child and gang up against the parents. So now that child develops a disdain for their parents to the point that they think their parents are abusing them for actually just being good parents to them.
For safeguarding.
And what's insane about that is it actually, when the Bible says that the fruit of honoring your parents is that you have a long life, it's so sad to see that people are actually having very hindered, very broken, very damaged lives because of the absence of honor for their parents. It's in the littlest, it's in the smallest of things. It's crazy. You, as a person, a lot of the people pushing these agendas as well, you yourself, the people that make these phones, these social media platforms, they don't even allow their children to use them. That's how sick the world is becoming. But yet you're pushing all this stuff onto kids, saying, oh no,
other
let
people's
them,
kids, mind you.
Let them. But you in your house, you're holding one strict army regiment so that your children don't get out of line.
It's bizarre.
How did we get here? Like, how did we get here?
And I think it's important to reiterate as well that we are not talking about. I think there's a difference here, because I don't think the message is that everything your parents says is right, and they have the answers to everything, and without them there's no direction, or do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's important to make that discrepancy and make that very clear, because in the beginning it was also us that said that it's also your parents' first time seeing today as you, so they're also learning on the go.
Yes.
But my thing is the way you do it.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? I think it's the way you do it. If there's, let's say for example, which is a very common, thing that happens in African households, or just households in general. Let's say you're raised at home and it's time to, pick your subjects to study, and you want to do this course, and your parents think you should do this course. It happens a lot. And you're very passionate about the course that you want to do. And I personally don't think, it's not as if now you're now going to do the course that your parents have now told you to do, but it's the way you go about wanting to do your own choice of course that shows whether you're honouring them. We're not saying you be a yes man. Personally, that is not what I'm saying. And I think it's important to make that clear. Is the way I would deal with that is sitting down with them, mum and dad, look, this is what I want to do. Give your reasons, explain to them, because you owe them that. Yes. They are your parents. Yes. I'm so sorry to say that. Like, that's just my opinion. They're your parents. Speak to them with kind words. Explain why you want to do the course that you want to do. Go as far as making a presentation if you feel like you have to, because they're hard to get through to, because some parents are. Let's not lie. You've done that now, and hopefully there should be results. And if there's no results, like, bring other people. Like, there's a way. You just don't. Do I'm doing it by get out.
Yeah,
that's just
Stop like talking to me. Shut the hell up. I'm out,
guys. It's actually crazy. Like, it's so crazy, and I feel like the West definitely emphasizes on that a lot. It definitely sips into just the way we're brought up here in comparison to back home and things like that. That's why I feel like that hierarchy of power comes into play, especially back home, even though I feel like sometimes they take it too far, but I understand why it was created in the first instance. It's just like, there are people that are older than you. There's a Yoruba proverb, I don't know exactly how it goes, my mom has told me this. She says something that an adult will stand and see from far, a child cannot even climb on a fence to see it. Do you get it? Because of the experience, because of the knowledge, because of the life that they have been through, the wisdom, everything that they have been through. Is nothing. Experience is the best teacher. There's nothing that they have been through that you might not even go through, but you haven't gone through it yet. So as a person learning and growing and just absorbing and just taking things in, it's wise for you to listen to someone that has been through it to give you the knowledge. Not to say you're guaranteed perfect results, but it can eradicate a lot of issues that you don't even have to go through simply because you decided, okay, I've listened to this, my parents, they've told me this, let me try and consider, let me add it in, let me take it into consideration. Not they're always wrong and I'm not. But anyway, back to what I'm saying, it's the way you do it. If you don't agree with them, or if you want a different path from the path they want for you, there's a way you go about it. You don't be disrespectful. You don't kick off. You don't cause a scene. You don't throw a tantrum.
And that's not to say it's not easy.
Yeah,
it's like it's easy,
because
like we deal, especially being Africans, we deal with the toughest parents every single, especially living under their roof.
What?
There's a
you
saying.
You just want to go to your friend's birthday and you've made it into.
Oh my god!
What?
It's crazy.
Like,
I had a dream.
I feel like Tem's point is very key for everybody to take in as well. Like, there is a disclaimer to say, we're not saying be a doormat, we're not saying be treated like rubbish, we're not saying anything like that, but there is a space for honouring your parents that should be kept. There's an order, like Ashley said. And I think one thing that is a downside to not honouring your parents is you neglect their covering, because what you see in the West nowadays is a lot of kids having to fend for themselves as adults,
like
because you've neglected your parents' covering. You've said, I know better than them, and so now you're out in this world facing this big bad world on your own and running. We've all seen it, those kids that unfortunately they've decided that their parents don't deserve to have the place they have in their life, and so they're going to do it by themselves, and they end up in like the most horrible situations where their childhood, their innocence is being stripped of them prematurely because of a lack of honor. That's what happens.
You know, that mentality, something just that mentality of my parents can't tell me what to do. Like, I'm a grown. It's so dangerous sometimes. Like, because I know we get to a certain age where we feel like no one can tell us anything. Absolutely, I've been there. Sometimes I'm still even there, where it's like I'm actually grown. I'm steering my own life, and I'm going to do what I think is best for me and do what, you know, all of that. But I think it's just going back and just thinking, like reading the Bible first of all. I like the way you introduced the commandments, but there's a reason for everything. And I think it's important to definitely take that on board and just not neglect it. Like and I feel like people can testify to this, those that maybe started off on the path of not honoring their parents, and then when they start to do it, seeing the difference it makes in your life. Like God can just show up for you in ways, or just kind of help you do certain things, and you might not even think it's anything to do with the fact that you're honoring your parents, but your life just, you know, there's blessings, like your doors are opening for you, opportunities. It's because you're being obedient to the word of God, and you're putting order. You know,
I love what you've both said, you know, because really and truly, a fool hates wisdom. A fool hates wisdom, and it isn't just when it comes down to parents. Is when you avoid, or when you think you're above counsel, that's when you subject yourself to the horrors in this life.
1 million.
Because let's take it back to our parents now. When someone who has been on this earth for a certain amount of years, so they've developed a wisdom, and let's even talk about godly parents.
That's really, for the most part, what we are talking about.
Healthy parents,
functioning, present parents,
prayerful parents.
When they're speaking wisdom to you, and in your mind you're not thinking, well, nah, you don't know what you're talking about. There's a deeper level of reflection that needs to take place there, where it's, okay, let me pause for a second. Why are they saying what they're saying? Are they saying it out of ill intent? Are they saying it because they want to stop me from living my life? Are they saying it because they're seeing something that I cannot yet see, or I haven't yet seen? And they're saying it because they love me. That's the bottom line, is that your parents actually love you, and they want a certain life for you. And it might not be, like you said, the nitty gritty stuff. Oh, you don't want to study a certain subject. You know, you want to do certain hobbies. You want to do X, Y, and Z. Take that away from it. Just your normal foundations of life. They want you on a certain path. Want the best. They want the absolute best for you. And for you to now completely ignore that, it's a hate for wisdom.
It's a foolish
wisdom is running after you, but it's not catching up.
Oh
wow. Anyway,
no, because it's literally that. They are the actual only people in this world, especially when we're talking from a healthy Christian context. They're the only people in this world that actually love you. More than anybody else, more than the school that you go to, more than the doctor's office that you're going to visit. Everybody that you think is for you, no one is for you more than your parents.
Do you know what?
Nobody. They want for you what they couldn't even have for themselves.
What?
Do you know, like, and it's so sad, that my mum always says to me, oh, actually, you'll never know until you're a parent. And it's so sad that for the most part, I feel like we won't truly know until we're parents ourselves. But even when you get to the age of consent, or the age of where you can have that authority over your own life, as a parent, you never stop having that worry over your child until the day that you are dead.
And you even worry about the day that you will die.
And I feel like,
have I done enough for them to live without me?
And that's so crazy. And I feel like that's why a lot of people, when they become parents, they then start to rekindle their relationship with their own parents, because then they start to see, because it's part of what I said in the last episode. You know, a lot of things in life, sometimes we're so in our own world and our own mind and our own experiences and our little bubble, that it's so hard to take your mind out of where it is at the moment into thinking elsewhere and thinking of other people and just another person's point of view until you're going through it yourself. You then think, oh my God, this whole time, like, there are loads of things that I think I might know right now. When I become a mother, the level of understanding I'll probably have with my mum, the level of bonding I'll probably have with my mum, is like, oh my God, different. I see it now.
Even when you ask them questions about
understand
their journey into parenthood,
it would nearly bring me to tears, because it's like, oh my God,
stories about what it was like when my mum was pregnant, what they've experienced just in order for us to have the life that we have. That in itself.
Let's talk about migrating.
That just deserves their own honor.
What they used to.
Do you think it's for themselves?
And that's why, like, honoring your parents, it even grows and shifts as you get older. Because when you're younger, there's a certain level of honor that they require. As you become an adult, you become not pairs, but like you become, you're able to reason
like on a level, level-minded.
Like
yeah,
the honor. It's not that the honor just gets to disappear because you're an adult. It just changes. It grows.
changes. The way it
evolves.
looks changes.
Like, they now more respect your opinion and they actually want to hear from you. And honor is not that you just blind everything that they say. Yes. Nobody's saying that. But at the same time, it's like it's honoring them. It's giving
sitting
them
down,
the space
having that
to speak.
conversation, talking, having a safe space. There's a newfound love and appreciation for your parents because you're now becoming that age. You're now understanding some of the decisions that they make. Do you know what this reminds me of? What I was going to say. What this reminds me of is the prodigal son. The prodigal son. The prodigal son is a perfect example of this because what did he do? He went away. He spent all the money, and the dad gave it to him. Like, if that's what you want to do, are you sure? Trying to make him stay. He said no. He did what he had to do. He spent it all because he thought he could see above his parents. Right? He went spent all the money. His dad saw him from far.
Yes, and ran.
He saw him coming back home. And do you know what it is? He had another brother that was at home, right? And he was saying to his dad, like, I've been here this whole time though. This. And the dad said to him, like, but that's the point, you've been here. So you understand certain things. But you've been safe here. This has been your safe space. You've listened to my instructions and you followed my rules in my house. This is a son that has gone away and seen the world. We have to welcome him back with love and love.
Yes.
Like
that one.
Like
Tim, you said it.
Like
that illustration.
That is a parent.
That's a parent,
and
that is a parent's love.
But do you know what's so crazy? It shouldn't get to that point.
No, it should never have.
It shouldn't get to the point where we're now departing from our parents and we're living life outside of their wisdom, their counsel, their safeguarding, their protection, 100%. And we're being exposed to things in this life that we shouldn't be, and then. Life is not black and white. Unfortunately, some people will have to learn the hard way.
Absolutely.
But if you can avoid it,
this is why I feel like the example of the prodigal son, it had to show the extreme levels of how far you can go and just still a parent's love, how far it can stretch.
So I want to.
I think that's what I think that's why that example was given. I think that's why God showed that story specifically, illustrated that in the Bible.
It's still applicable today.
Because we're not talking about a man that went for a year or a man that decided to be a bit rebellious but still stayed in his parents' home. He left
with his inheritance. I want people to
He left. He took his share of his father's inheritance. And he took everything and spent it. And he came back and his father still took him in and threw a party for him and said, my son is back home.
No, I want to speak on that because Tem, that is like the perfect, if there's a perfect Bible story to illustrate this, it's the
prodigal son.
Because the prodigal son, I remember when in the Bible when it talks about it's a parable, it's a reflection of humans. So we are the prodigal son and the father is God, and how we in our own reasoning choose to dishonor, choose to say, what, we know better than the path that has been set before us, and we ask for things prematurely, take them, run with it, get to the very pit of life where he was eating from a pigsty. That's how destitute he went, and enjoyed the things of life that were the things.
And you saw the stages from when he had it, from when it became needed until he got to a point with no return. We saw everything step by step. But that's how it is in real life.
That's exactly what it is. It feels good at the beginning, yet at the end it's always miserable. You can end up to the point of nearly dying. He was hungry. He was homeless.
In my own way, I've been there. We've all been there where we thought we could do it by ourselves, and then we find out you can't, and then you go back.
And then we get to the point where we're like, wait, there is somebody. There's someone older than me. There's someone that loves me. There's someone at home that has been waiting for me, wants me to come home. And God is God's love, God, obviously our parents can never be as perfect as God. They are just trying their best. But the illustration that in a home that is healthy, that where God has helped our parents to see, to accept the gift of salvation and to reflect his love towards us, there is always that home for you to come back to. And the reason why I love the way the Bible illustrates it, that there is always joy over a soul that was once lost but is now found. That was the reason why there was a party. It wasn't to say that the son that stayed at home didn't deserve the love, didn't deserve the party, but he was able to actually grasp the wisdom of what it meant to stay under the counsel of his father, to stay under the covering of his father, to stay honoring his father and stay at home and not take his inheritance sentence
rejoicing
prematurely.
in that.
There's a rejoicing. And
He
do you know
leaves
what's
the
so funny?
99 for the one.
That's what I was about to say. That I was sent that
She said, yeah,
we
as she
watched
was
that
saying
Bible
it,
study. Like
yeah.
it was leave the 99 behind for the one.
The one that goes astray,
and everyone's
the one
thinking,
that-
why that one?
Why
Why that one? Why that one? There's a reason why that one, because that one is lost yet to be found, and when you are found, you will be celebrated.
Yes.
We say it all the time on our podcast. Pastors say it all the time. Like, if my message isn't going to go to the majority, which for the most part it might not go. If
it's just
one
the
person,
just heaven rejoices when just one gives their life.
do you know?
One
just
out of the
one.
billions. And
They rejoice
the
because they
heavens
know
take-
the stake, the stake that is
Yes.
at hand.
They like the heavens rejoice over one soul.
One soul.
Parties.
That should show you how precious your life is, and that how worthy you are to be rejoiced over.
It's the translation from death to life. Like, that's what it is. That's what they're rejoicing over. And it's interesting that God uses the illustration of a father and a son to really break down his love for us. And we don't see the weight of what it means.
But we're not deep in it. It's not
He
digesting.
used illustration of a father and a son to illustrate his love for us. He calls himself our father. So even in honoring your parents, you're honoring God. Like
That's it.
That's like
I think that's what people forget as well.
And a lack of
You're not
dishonor
honouring
shows a
them just
dishonor
for the
for the
sake
Lord.
of honouring.
It's a dishonor for the Lord to dishonor your parents. That's just what it is. And so
Heavy
I
on that
think
one.
God is only God in his gracious wisdom and his mercy that he enables us to actually do the things that he wants us to do.
Right.
Because honestly, like we've said, we fall short of it too.
It's
like
not
nobody's
easy.
saying that nobody's coming here to preach perfection, but to know what there's a price at hand. There is like blessing, and it's not to do it for the blessing, because at the end of the day, God is faithful regardless, and we're doing it because he tells us to regardless. But there is a blessing. You will live long. You will live a beautiful life because you honored your parents. And it's crazy because it just makes sense. If you honor God, he honors you.
Yes.
Like that's just really the long
That's
and
what
short
it
of
is.
Wow.
Commit
That
your ways
is
unto the
what it
Lord.
is.
Trust also in him, and he will bring your things to
And
pass.
establish your ways. Yep.
Like that's like, but it starts with that first obedience, the honoring,
No matter how hard it will be,
the surrendering to.
you gotta do it.
Honor is like almost a surrender to somebody's like lordship.
Authority. Yeah.
You know, their authority over you. That's what honor is. It's saying, wait, God knows more than me, so I should trust him.
Because if you
he
can't
sees it all.
if you can't honor someone that you can see, how can you honor God whom you cannot see?
That's
That's what I'm sorry.
And it's so crazy because when you look at a relationship between a mother and a daughter, or a father and a son, or just us between our parents, it's a reminder of the exercise of choosing to surrender to authority every single day.
You know, not to go. We're not about to divulge into a whole different topic here. But this is why some people, when it comes to dating, one of the things they look out for is your relationship with your parents and how you speak about them, how you speak to them,
your relationship,
just your relationship as a whole. They look at it. I'm so sorry. And when I was younger, I didn't quite understand. But the older I'm getting, I get why people look at that.
You're not going to cause a ruckus in my life.
I get why people look at that. Like Christian women look at the relationship between a man and his mum, how he treats his mother, how he treats his father.
Yeah.
They look at that same way Christian men look at Christian women, how they are at home. Can you listen to authority?
Because I was having a conversation with one of my guy friends, and he was like, a deal breaker for him is if he sees like a young woman, like the person he's dating, the way she speaks to her mum is disrespectful.
It's
1 million.
If you can speak because bottom line is whether it's a man or woman, if you can speak to your parents anyhow, soon enough I'm going to be subject to
that same
a person. Guys, look, a person that has that mentality of no one, you're not accountable for anything. No one can tell me about myself. That is a danger. That personally, I can't date. I can't be with someone.
You
like that.
are a walking time bomb.
Soon enough,
no one can tell you nothing. Your humbleness is nowhere to be found.
People think, they just
you're not subject to authority.
They don't have a good relationship with their siblings, but they love me.
They can have a good relationship with me, or no.
This is the beginning. This is the prequel.
It's gonna show.
You don't want to
up.
see the full movie.
It's gonna show up. It's like when people say when you get married, things amplify.
They amplify. So if someone hasn't already been has not already been honoring their parents, hasn't been loving the people in their life, hasn't shown regard for the authority, why do you think they're going to start when they marry you?
Because in marriage, there's that authority that we're subject under. There's order in the house.
The husband is the head of
I'm sorry,
home.
how are we going to raise children
with?
with?
To be the head of the husband. So if he cannot surrender to God,
How can we? Sorry, how can we raise kids with no order? How can we become those parents that our kids will honor?
I was literally about to say that. We don't honor our parents, but we want your kids to honor you. Hello, hi.
It's like my mum always says, whenever like we we're not respectful.
Yeah, I know what you're about to say.
She always says, "Oh, don't worry. When your children are disrespectful to you, then
when my mum is mad. Let's say I do something, she's always like, especially Yoruba mums, they always say this thing where it's just like, "Oh, I didn't kill my mum, so you're not gonna kill me." I think this is what my mom said. I think actually, like they make it clear that I was respectful to my mom, so this is not what I deserve. So fix your attitude. No, they're very clear. My mom's been saying that since I was this high. Yeah. I did not, because I see the way my mom treats her mother. And do you know what's so mad? These things in life, this is what I'm saying, as a child, it's so important to put examples in front of your kids, show them a way. Because, I did not know how much this impacted me growing up. I see the way my mum takes care of her mum, the thing she does for that woman. And it's just reflected on my relationship with her, because my mum is also getting older. Yeah. Don't get it twisted, we fight. We have issues, we argue, normal. But the way I also take care, I know how I take care of my mom. I go above and beyond. Things that I don't want to do, but she's my mom, I will do it for her. Like, if I don't do it for her, who would I do it for?
And I don't want it to get to a point where my parents are no longer here and I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish.
Absolutely not. God forbid.
I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. I will do it today.
And you know what it is? It's also important to remember everything that we're saying, we're speaking from our experience. Take it and add it to your experience. Whatever that looks like for you. That's shaky. It's so important, because I'm talking about, the things that I do for my mom. That's because I live in my mother's house. We have that relationship where let's look at your... Do you know what I mean? Look specifically at your, personalize it, tailor it to your life and the relationship that you have with your parents if they're still here, and just try and work that way. I think with everything that you say, like, love is the ultimate thing. Do things out of love.
Honor comes
do
from
it
love.
Out of love.
Yes,
please.
Like, I love what you said about how your mum treats her mum, because and I like the fact that you said if they're still here, because on both parents' side, both my grandparents, they're all gone.
Same.
And even just how my dad speaks about his mum to this day, how my dad speaks about his dad.
We can take wisdom from it. We can take knowledge from it.
We're not perfect people. My dad comes from a polygamous home. Listen, like, they were not perfect.
They were not
people, 100%. But they honored the way that our parents honor their parents. He has never said a bad word about his mum to me as long as I've lived.
That's so true. Wow.
And I just pray that we can follow their example.
Right. Amen.
Because I can see the benefits in my dad's life.
It's commendable. It's so commendable. I admire it so much.
Seeing the covering over them just because of that.
What?
I admire it so much. You just have to watch the way you talk about your parents in front of other people. Like, no matter how much they've annoyed you, like, just be mindful of that. Be wise of that.
And Lord, we just pray that you help us to all honor our parents.
Amen. Help us. Because we need it every day. We need your help.
Thank you.
On that note, thank you guys for watching. This was such a good episode.
We loved it. We hope you guys loved it too.
And we'll see you on our next episode. Bye.